What is going on, everybody? Jumbo Thick here, back with more Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Rise of the Forsaken, our 4th edition campaign setting. I am, of course, your game master for tonight, your GM, your dungeon master, however many titles I can give myself. And I am joined by my faithful companions, our lovely band of adventurers, Mr. Jumbo Smooth and Mr. Doobie209. If you want to give yourselves a brief introduction for all the people at home.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jumbo Smooth. I'll be playing the role of Marius Wolf. I'm a miner, career path of miner, and we're about to fight these witch elves. You remember? And Jumbo Smooth does not trust this woman who who's in our party who escaped the wrath of the Beastmen.
Oh, gee.
Marius Wolf might be a little bit more forgiving, but Jumbo Smooth, very suspicious.
She's been nothing but kind to you. So distrustful.
I don't trust her.
And Mr. Doobie.
What's going on, guys? Doobie209 playing Seamus, and I just want to see how many corruption points I can gather so I can become the Forsaken.
That's true. That is very true. The campaign setting's actually about you this whole time. Speaking of corruption, for those of you at home that don't understand how it works, or maybe just are curious. Essentially, in Warhammer, in the fantasy roleplay, and it actually has mechanics for this, if you garner enough corruption of the body or mind, you can mutate of not your own volition and become a mutant freak, and eventually become a chaos spawn, or a champion of the dark powers, or so on and so forth. The way it works for 4th edition is you incur the corruption points, and if you get more corruption points than your willpower bonus and your toughness bonus, then you will proceed to mutate after a failed roll. How many points are you up to, Seamus?
I am at 6.
And what is your total cap?
I believe it's 8.
8. Okay, so 2 more points, and Seamus McCready will have to make a difficult test to avoid taking the first step towards the ruinous powers it be. So hopefully it doesn't come there. We'll see. You're getting close. You're getting pretty close.
But I made a dark deal, though. So
yeah, exactly. You can always make a dark deal. Make those go away. So let's see how that goes for you this session. So just a brief recap for those at home, because we want to get into the action. Last we left off, our band of adventurers found themselves in the dreaded land of Nippon after accepting a all but, benign small quest. Help investigate part of the mine, bypass a couple things, and they ended up through a series of unfortunate events.
It's supposed to be so simple.
It was supposed to be a very simple, just a single silver piece. Just one silver piece for both of you. And you ended up in this cursed land. You have been ravaged by the elements. You have been attacked by a tiger. You have been shot multiple times with crossbow bolts and arrows.
So many times.
So many times. You've almost drowned. You have been captured and sold off into something. Who knows? Some kind of cult, perhaps. You raided a temple in the mountains. You retrieved a mysterious sword that appears to have given Seamus McCready quite a few interesting abilities. You've eaten people. Well, not exactly people. You've eaten beastmen. You've eaten mutated deer. You've eaten all kinds of crazy things in this land. And you are currently in tow with a band of survivors that you rescued from the mountainous monastery that you infiltrated and all but murdered everyone inside. You retrieved a interesting book that happens to now contain the scroll that you lost during your travels here. It may or may not be cursed by a demon. I don't know. Possibly. More than likely.
Yes.
Probably more than likely. So, Marius is in possession of that currently. You are also in possession of some very magical masks. I will remind you guys of that. And Seamus had a horse for a single episode. Technically an episode and a half. It was slown out from underneath him by a very, very haggard fight that you guys had in the previous session, which was, it was intense. A lot of stuff went down. Another Beastman ambush, this time by possibly a different clan. And they all but took you almost by surprise. It was close. But you managed to not be completely surprised and avoided the bulk of their more devious activities they had planned for you. But you managed to survive that, saved about half of the individuals traveling with you, the men and women of Nippon that are with you currently, in the process of a heated philosophical debate, we'll call it. You lost your one and only man, Gerard, who was acting as not an ambassador, a translator to these people, as he was a man of the Empire and possibly a part of Seamus's long-lost battalion of men. We'll call it a battalion for now, until I can come up with a better word. Not squadron, but you get what I'm talking about. He was possibly a part of that, and he is gone somehow, some way. He either left or was dragged off into the forest. No one went looking for him. So there is that. And yeah, that brings us up to about speed, except you guys you are getting eerily close to the mountain in which you came to this place. Marius thinks he has something worked out and a way to get out of this place and go back to the Empire, back to your warm beds in the lovely, lovely, small countryside town of Sealberg.
Oh, please God.
On this 30-year time jump.
Yeah, that's true. But we'll see how that goes. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe nothing will happen. But regardless, you've been hearing the sounds of battle, the sounds of explosions. There's been smoke kind of drifting in the distance, though you are in a very densely packed forest, so your view of the open sky is limited. There is a path that you have been traveling on. You do still have a cart. Or no, you dropped the cart. You left the cart behind, but you do have the horses. And you've been traveling, but you heard a closer scuffle than the previous dins of battle you've heard in the distance. And Seamus and Marius, you guys peeled off to investigate to see exactly what it was. You made some very good stealth rolls, very uncharacteristically of the two of you. But however, it was probably all for naught, as you came a little over 100 feet. I'm going to say probably about 150 feet off of the path that you traveled into this forest. It began to clear out a little bit. There are clearings in this forest, as you have noticed before. Odd places of the land that appear to be devoid of trees. It's kind of unique in that way. And in this clearing, there was a man of Nippon, a soldier, garbed as a soldier. Not the very formal samurai-looking soldiers, but just a regular soldier. Appeared to be in a panic, running in your direction. And as he was closing the distance, Seamus took aim and fired a bolt, catching him in his right shoulder area and putting him on the ground. And he appears to be heavily wounded, possibly dead or dying at this as soon as that happened. But you guys didn't pay that much attention to that, as about 60 feet from you, stepping into the clearing, were 3 tall, lithe, scantily clad women. Definitely elves, very pale porcelain skin, though it's hard to see under the grime and dried blood that has been caked over their bodies. And that is pretty much where we left off, guys, unless you can think of anything I might have missed.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Okay.
We did see Seamus take the form of an angel of death when he
Yes.
killed the giant tiger.
Yes, I'm referring to it as a wraith.
Okay.
Me personally, it's not official. We'll workshop it. But yes, you did take on the guise of that briefly for a moment. You don't know what triggered it, but it did happen for just a moment. So yes, if you watched the previous episode, you would have also noted that, which in my opinion was pretty cool. It's just me, praising myself here. It's fine. No one else clapped for
bro.
me.
It's like,
Okay.
that's pretty cool, bro.
There we go. That's what I like. Boost my ego, please. Please do it. Regardless, so let's go ahead and, let's just start off strong and roll some initiative, boys.
Question.
Yes.
Does Seamus get a momentum for shooting that Nipponese soldier?
Yes, he would. You would gain momentum for combat, not for your initiative roll. But yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Ooh, I got an 11.
Okay, ooh, that's good. All right, and you, Seamus?
I also got an 11.
Okay. Who had? Well, you both are the same. You both are
terrible.
Yeah, you both have the same initiative score, I believe. The initiative bonus. Who has the higher score? You know what? Let me just look real quick because I have your guys' stats. Seamus.
24.
Seamus.
Yes.
I'm going to say you take the lead, just slightly ahead of Marius.
Yes.
Yeah, because yours is actually technically higher than his, just number-wise. All right, so at an 11, that puts you guys right here. All right, I have this all pre-rolled for you guys. It's going to be great. Okay. So, to set the scene in more detail, Seamus, so are you guys crouching behind, because you're not technically in the clearing. You're kind of at the edge of the woods before you get to the clearing itself. Are you guys like behind trees, or are you crouched low to the ground, like maybe some brush or something like that? How are you guys stealthed at the moment?
Yeah, I imagine like dropping down to a knee in some brush in the trees.
Okay. Same with
That's
you,
why I imagine it.
Marius?
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
Probably close to the like behind a tree if I can or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are some like uncharacteristically thick trees that are like bamboo, but they're large. Very, very more large than you would see in, the real world, because this is Fantasyland. And they are much bigger and thicker, and they grow in big patches, and you've kind of taken cover behind those with your previous stealth checks. However, let's see what happens. So the man is down only probably about 30 feet from you guys. He's in the clearing. There's another 30 feet to the other side of the clearing past him, so 60 feet total, where the elven women are emerging from the thick brush. as they push through, the first one that you guys see, this is midday, so you guys can see, it's relatively bright outside. There does appear to be some kind of overcast or possibly fog in the air, which is, it's not like bright light, but dim light. And you could still see fine. It's not affecting your vision in any way. But the first one emerging from the brush, you notice that she is kind of giggling to herself. And the other ones behind her are doing something similar. The first one that emerges appears, like I described previously, porcelain white skin. The makeup what you would think would be makeup is actually, it appears to be dried blood that has just been caked in layers upon layers to give shadow and rouge to the cheeks, and mascara essentially made out of blood. The hair is a crimson, almost dirty brown color, but it appears that at its roots it is white as snow. So, best guess, you would assume that it is also caked in gore. She's wearing almost no clothing. I'm talking minimal, like straps, essentially, covering all of her special areas, and just a small, barely fluttering little, almost like a skirt thing that comes maybe mid-thigh, that is just kind of moves as she walks. You would also notice that there appears to be fresh fingers and bones still covered in gore that have been kind of braided into her hair that is dangling around her shoulders. Oh. She has they're curved daggers. They're curved at an odd shape, an odd angle, and it is very, very reminiscent of some of the craft work that you saw on the Dark Elf Corsairs that you have encountered so many times. So it's definitely of similar origin, and it just looks very, very, very sharp. But not very big, not like a sword, like a small dagger. And she starts strutting towards the downed man. Two more follow behind her. The second one is actually muttering something a little bit more growly, almost feral under her breath. And you would notice that there's they all have kind of fresh wounds and scars across their bodies, but this one has a very, very deep scar across her forehead, and it's in the shape of some kind of hideous rune that actually hurts your eyes to look at it if you stare at it for too long. It appears to be giving off some kind of heat from it, almost like it's red hot for some reason. She's garbed similarly than the other elfin woman, and has also two sets of daggers, one in each hand. And she starts kind of strafing out to the left of her sister in battle, or whatever we'll call them, and begins circling around the edge of the clearing to get a better look at their downed prey. The third woman comes stepping out. And this one appears, first of all, her eyes are very red, almost bloodshot. Even from this distance, you can see that it's uncharacteristically red eyes. And you will notice that she has, in one hand, in her right hand, one of her daggers is much longer than the other. But it is of a similar shape, but it just looks bigger for some reason. From this distance, it's kind of hard to tell. But that is them as they enter the clearing. And with your initiative rolls, because they have not technically seen you yet, we are going to just play this out, and you let me know when you want to act, and then we will engage the encounter. So,
all right.
The one in the lead, the one with the kind of bones and fingers in her hair, starts casually walking over to the man, and she says something in a almost whimsical but very how do I describe their language? It sounds almost like a psalm, but almost like a death dirge. Something just seems a little bit off about it. And she says something to the woman on her left, and she steps forward a little bit further past her, and they are now at this point about to reach the downed man.
Question.
Yes.
How far are they right now from us?
So, they're currently 40 feet from you guys. The man that is down, he's not moving. He's about 30 feet from you. So in another 10 feet, they're going to reach him.
I would like to kind of like look at Seamus.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like have my eyes go wide, kind of expressing like, oh shit, and then kind of looking down at his crossbow, and then just kind of like looking back at the women, and kind of like giving it a nod, like kind of like,
Seamus, make me an intelligence check,
Dude.
sir.
That's my intelligence. All right.
Oh, this is going to go great.
A 9.
Yes, that is
Oh,
really
nice.
good. You completely understand what Marius is telling you to do, if you so choose to act.
All right. I'll look back at him and nod, and I'll pull it up and take a shot if that first one was in range.
Okay. Which one are you going to aim at? The one with the
I think
bones in her hair is appears to be the one that is giving kind of direction to the others, though direction is probably a little bit far too specific. They just appear to be kind of following her lead. The one to her that is actually closer to you, just a few paces, is the one with the kind of scarred, bright rune on her forehead. She's the one getting closer to the body. The one with the long blade is back just a couple paces to the right, almost like they're converging in kind of a wide net around the area. So you choose whichever one you would like to shoot and let me know.
Do I see any weapons on the other two?
Yes, they all have those kind of curved daggers, similar to the first. They all have a set of them, except for the one which would be to your left has one blade that is longer than the other ones.
I will go for the one with the bones.
Okay, all right. The bones in her hair. Go ahead and make me a shot.
Ooh, that's good. That's a 44 out of 56.
44.
shit.
44.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay then. All right.
Get that crit.
Yeah, that's a crit. That's a crit. Go ahead and roll me a D100.
Technically, it'd be out of 66 with my momentum, if that matters.
Yes, that will matter for damage.
I rolled a 21.
21. Okay. All right. And roll me one more.
70.
Okay. Okay. All right. How much damage total did you do? Real quick.
It's 44 out of 66, so it's 9. Plus 2 levels of success, so 11.
So 11. 11. Ooh, that's a vicious blow. Oh, and all right. Okay, this is oof. All right. So here's what happens.
Oh, yeah.
So you take aim at the woman in the lead. Well, not exactly in the lead, somewhat in the lead. The one that's been kind of giving cues to the other two. And you take aim, and you loose a bolt, knowing that they are about to discover the bolt lodged in this other band that wasn't there before. And as soon as you do, you let loose, and there's just a brief pause as you hear the thump of the crossbow. And she has just enough time to glance up in your direction, as these creatures are very, very perceptive, more so than normal. However, she is not perceptive enough to dodge what is happening, and you take her, which it should have been center mass, but she managed to take it in the arm instead, into her left shoulder specifically, and the bolt goes in deep. It may have glanced off a bone or something very, very vital, and you hear her scream out, just this high-pitched wail, as you see a big rend tear through her arm. The bolt keeps going off into the distance somewhere, and there's just a bloody mess of her left arm, and it is actively spurting large amounts of blood onto the ground. And as she wails out in pain, the other two, instead of looking perhaps scared, look very, very excited. And the smell of blood appears to have awakened something deep inside of them. And now we are in initiative order.
Oh, yeah.
So, at the top of the round, let me add this real quick. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so at the top of the round, the one with the bones in her hair, the bones in the fingers, she locks eyes with you and screams something out to the other two as she's kind of clutching at her arm. And she takes a step towards you guys, and you see just her limbs begin to shake. She falls to her knees and just goes limp onto the ground, as she has bled to death in a single turn. because you tore through a very, very vital artery with that critical hit. As she collapses, the elf on your right, the one with the rune carved into her head, looks up, sees you specifically, Seamus, as you just took the shot, and just sprints at an unnatural pace in your direction. She vaults over the collapsed man and covers the distance to where you were hiding in the tree line within seconds. Almost gazelle-like as she sprints through the clearing. And she has entered combat with you. You do have a choice, Seamus, since it is now technically the round. It's up to you. You have a fast weapon.
Yep.
You can draw it and attack now if you want, or you can wait for your turn, but you only get to do it once per round. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could draw it and skip.
Okay, yes, that's fine. So you can go ahead and make attack as she's closing, as in just a brief few seconds you have enough time to sling the crossbow back, grab your blade, and draw it, since it is a very fast draw. Go ahead and make me an attack.
All right. Ancestors are shining upon me. Oh yeah, that's a 2.
Oh wow. Ooh. Okay.
That's a 2 out of 77. 75, I mean.
Okay. Holy crap. All right. Let's see here. So 4 plus yours, so 7. How many levels of success is that for you, real quick?
Oh, jeez.
Should be 7.
Yeah, it should be 7 levels.
So that's 14. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what I got. All right. And you rolled a 2, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my lord. All right. So, Seamus, man, you are apparently a whirlwind of death in this moment. You, as she closes the distance, grinning, the blades kind of held out to her side, almost like, Naruto ninja style, running towards you. She doesn't see it coming quick enough, though. She also happens to see it in just enough time to not take as much damage as you would hope. But you do lash out with the katana at your hip, and it carves a rend across the rune in her forehead, splitting it open. That's quite a bit of damage, but she has what some might call supernatural reflexes. It's almost unnerving how quickly she reacts to you drawing your blade, despite how quick you did draw it. And she takes less damage than you would have hoped from the strike. But she does look very wounded as you've opened up her forehead, and she hisses at you and kind of backs away for a second, negating any charge bonus she might have had, which is a good thing. Yeah. So you can write down a success level, and if you had any wounds, which I believe you did not, you would recover 1 wound as it sucked just a brief portion of probably her soul into your sword, and therefore into you.
I love that sword.
All right. And with that, she kind of backs up, and immediately, as soon as you flourish the blade, she is going to attempt to kill you now. So I need you to roll for some defense, sir.
All right. Go for a block here. That is going to be a 15.
Wow.
Out of 70.
Okay, yes. So you parry aside a blade to your right, though it was a distracting maneuver. It was not meant to actually damage you, so I need you to defend yourself again, this time at -20.
All right. Let's see, that's a 23 out of 50.
23 out of 53. Okay. That is just enough. As the second blade comes up under, as you're somewhat distracted, and you manage to not get your blade down, but kind of jab your elbow down just in time to knock her arm aside just enough to where it scrapes across your armor and doesn't actually penetrate into the flesh. And as it lashes out, she kind of screams, almost a scream of pleasure, as this is going to be a worthy, enjoyable fight. And she begins circling around to your left, away from Marius.
I was about to say, does she see me?
She can see you. You're crouched down next to Seamus, so yes, she can see you. Marius, after seeing this crazy woman jump in here and Seamus lash out and begin to square off with her, you have just enough time to hear the of steps coming off to the left as you are somewhat focused on what's happening with Seamus. I need you to make me a defense of some kind, sir.
All right. That's a 13 out of 58.
Wow, that is impressive. So, how many levels is that?
4.
4 levels?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, 4.
4 levels. I'm going to give it to you since you guys tied as a smaller curved blade comes singing, almost cuts through some of the brush that you were kind of hiding behind, and you have just enough time as you have your pick clutched in your hands, ready for what's about to happen. You've just enough time to bring up the haft and block a strike that was aimed for your throat. But there is a follow-up strike shortly after. Go ahead and roll me another defense, sir.
All right. Minus 20.
This was not a parry maneuver.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a straight roll.
Do I get a momentum?
Yes, I'll give you a momentum for that.
Okay. So that would be 39 out of 68.
68, so 39, 49, 59. Okay, so 2 levels of success. All right. Let me see. So, Marius, as you blocked the blade that was coming for your jugular, you overextend just a tad. And the much larger blade carves a bloody rend across your face, across your nose and your cheek. Slashes through, dealing... let's see here... 10 wounds, so 10 damage. You can subtract your toughness bonus.
Jeez.
And I need you to make me an endurance test at minus 20.
All right, give me one second here. Let me remind minus my health here. All right. Okay, you said endurance minus 20?
Yes, endurance at minus 20.
All right. Ooh, that's a 20 out of 40.
Okay, all right. So, with 2 levels of success, you feel... Now, first off, just from being hit, you gain a poisoned condition, a single poisoned condition. As there appears to be some kind of, perhaps, runes or of possible killing nature would be the best thing that might describe it to the two of you. You have no idea of magic and how it works, so the best I can give you is there's something very lethal about these blades, and it doesn't appear to be just mere poison, though there is something dripping off the tip. But you manage to stave off the effects of that. You do feel heat as the blade touches you, and you, through magical means, you do receive a poison condition. But you do manage to stave off what could have been something more lethal as you feel a very brief pulse in your mind, Marius. There's just a split second where you see everything in a shade of red. And all the anger, all the pain, you just got sliced in the face, begins to boil up, and you were going to start lashing out at everything nearby. But you managed to control yourself. And that's that. That is the end of her turn as she begins circling around you, Marius, and away from Seamus. They're trying to split you guys off from each other. And Seamus McCready, it is actually your turn.
I used my fast action.
You did. So you do have your free action, and you have movement if you so choose.
I don't need to take any potions. And I can't move because she'll get an opportunity attack. So I will just hang tight where I am.
Yeah, she will get a free attack on you unless you want to burn your momentum, and then you can just disengage from her, essentially.
No, I'm okay with that. I will keep fighting her.
Okay, all right. So we're staying put back to back with Marius Wolf?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that is the end of Seamus's turn. You feel Marius, you feel Seamus kind of bump against you. He's behind you still as you are engaged with your new opponent. It is now your turn, Marius, as the woman licks the blood off the tip of her blade, which appears to be mingled with that dripping liquid that you see oozing from it. Doesn't appear to faze her. Or perhaps that's what she liked all along, as her bloodshot eyes kind of widen a little bit more as she tastes it.
Question.
Yes.
To remind me and the viewers, what does the poison condition do?
Okay, so the poisoned condition. So officially, let me get up the official things. Essentially, you're going to be at a -10 to all checks. You can... well, first off, at the end of the round, which it isn't the end of the round yet, you would lose 1 wound for each poison condition. You suffer -10 to all tests. And then if you reach 0 wounds or fall unconscious, then we will, cross that hurdle when it comes. But so far, you're okay for now.
Okay. I would like to use my resolve to
Okay.
take away that condition.
All right.
And Marius will kind of stand up, I guess, because he's kind of crouching, and kind of touch his face. Just be like, Seamus! She cut my face! And, just kind of look at her and just, go for the attack with my pick.
Okay, go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Okay. That's a 19 out of 58.
Okay, Marius, you're not going to like this.
Oh no!
Much characteristically to what normally happens to my minions, you lunge for an attack. And she's crouched down low, almost like a feral animal. She dodges out of the way, and let's see what else I rolled. Okay. You got lucky on that. Let's see here.
I'll be the judge if I feel lucky.
All right. Yeah, that's it. And then roll that. Okay. She lashes out as she gracefully, almost nimbly, passes by you and slides the smaller blade across your left eye, gouging into the socket and causing it to bleed. You gain a bleeding condition. I need you to make me an endurance test at -20.
Okay.
Actually, it's at -30 now since you had a poison condition already.
Okay.
And I will
Even though
also,
I used my resolve?
Yes, even though you used your resolve, it still happened.
Okay.
It's starting to build up in your system.
I'm at. I rolled a 25 out of about 30 would be 30. Maybe 30.
Okay. All right.
25 out of
All right. So you still pass. You take one more poison condition. Yeah, but you do you feel another flare of pain. You also have a bleeding condition now.
Gee, that's
so
good.
you have both. You have a poison condition and a bleeding condition.
All right.
And you took, let's see here. You took 11 wounds, as that was a critical hit.
I assumed it was.
You just lose
geez.
11 wounds.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to do with your
all
free
right.
action?
I would like to take a potion.
Okay.
The last potion.
You're clutching at your eye in one hand, you reach down with your other one, fumble with the potion, uncork it, down its contents.
Yes.
You can regain your toughness bonus and wounds. So
Thank you.
you get that back. Go
if
ahead.
Team would allow, I would like just to quickly say, she did it again, Seamus. She stabbed me in the face.
Exactly. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay.
That's gonna be my glorious turn.
That's Marius's glorious turn. So at the end of the round, Marius,
Yes.
you lose 2 wounds. One for bleeding, as the cut is bleeding,
Poison.
and the other for the poison that is coursing through your veins.
Oh, all right.
All right. Now we're at the top of the round again. Seamus, you hear Marius call out, and you hear him cry out in pain. He is uncharacteristically receiving quite the beating from behind you. It doesn't sound good, and it's pretty scary. In fact, you should probably finish this as quickly as possible. The elf in front of you, Seamus, drops down low again, a little bit weary of you, and she doesn't move out of range, but she moves almost like she's going to pull away from you. Then at the last second, she's going to lunge in. Now, you have the option, since you have your weapon drawn and it's fast, you can attack first if you like, or you can wait till your official turn. It's your choice.
Oh, I'm going first.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an attack.
Ooh, this one's going to be a 73 out of 95.
Okay. So, Seamus, you see her move in, and you move for a piercing motion with the katana straight towards her chest. And she apparently saw it coming as she just turns to the side. The blade swings wide, and now she's going to try to kill you. So roll me some defense. You've lost all your momentum.
Oh, no.
No.
Ooh, that's a 35 out of 40.
Seamus McCready.
Uh,
As she pivots, she moves to your left and brings one blade down, the rune still pulsing blood off of her forehead, brings it down and plinks off your right shoulder as it doesn't do enough damage to penetrate your armor and everything else. So you got lucky on that. It technically still hits you. So she gains momentum for the strike that's coming in, aimed for your ribs underneath. So roll me another set of defense.
my ancestors are shining upon me. This is probably going to hit. This is a 37 out of 40.
37
I'm
out of
hanging
40.
in there.
This time she aims, and she's aiming for under the ribs, and it does find purchase, as you can't bring the blade back in time, as the strikes were just too quick, darting in and out, and it passes into you for 9 damage. So you can subtract, it wasn't a critical, so you can subtract your armor, whatever armor you're wearing on your chest. And I need you to make me an endurance test at -20.
Jeez. I'm going to use a fortune point and reroll that if I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Much better. That was a 15 out of 62.
Okay, all right. So you do take a poison condition just from contact with the blade. And similar to Marius, you feel a red-hot surge of just pain and rage boil to the surface. Your vision turns almost red. Just for an instant, flashes as as the blade recedes from the wound in your side now. But you manage to keep yourself under control. It almost felt very similar to the almost bestial rage of the after effects of Essence of Tarkag. So, and you do see that there is venom dripping from these blades, which is unusual because it's actually dripping as if the blades are creating it themselves. All right. And that is the end of her turn. Marius.
Not me.
That's over.
Come on,
Marius.
Marius.
Marius Wolf. This woman is crouched low, almost like a feral animal, pacing back and forth before you. You are bleeding from your face. You are damaged severely. You're at a -10 to your defense. I need you to try to defend yourself in some way as she lunges in for another series of attacks.
All right. That's a 9 out of 48.
Okay, this time you bring up the pick, knock aside the first blade. Go ahead and roll me another defense.
All right. That is a 6 out of 58 now, I guess.
Out of 58?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you. You tied 4 count. I'm going to give it to you, though. She rolled pretty good on that one, but I'm going to give it to you. It's a good thing she doesn't have a similar pick-like weapon. Otherwise, this would have been another critical. But it wasn't, unfortunately. But you do, however, bring the butt of the pick down and smack her wrist as the longer blade, in a similar motion to what you've already seen. You were more prepared this time. You knock it to the side, and her arms go wide, and she squeals in what you think might have been pain, but there's just a hint of almost ecstasy about it. It is rather unnerving. And her arms go out wide, and that is the end of her turn. Now, Seamus, it is your turn. You've already used your action.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your free action, your movement, if you so choose. Are you using it?
How's Marius looking?
You would have to glance over your shoulder at him. But from the sounds of it, he doesn't look like he's having a great time. Can I use my free action to look over at him? Sure. Go ahead and give me a perception check. As this is mid-battle. And if you fail this check, just so you know, she might get an opportunity to attack against you.
I did not fail this one. I barely passed. I got a 46 out of 51.
Okay. You have just enough time to glance over your shoulder. You're taking a risk, removing your eyes from such a deadly opponent. But you get just a quick glance over your shoulder, and Marius is actively bleeding. You see his back, but you do see blood starting to pool down the side of his face and his neck. So you do see that, and he looks a little haggard. He's breathing a little bit more heavy than he normally would be, probably from the effects of the poison that is coursing through his veins right now. But that's what you see.
All right, that will end my turn.
Okay. Marius Wolf, it is your turn, sir. You managed to stave off that assault. You garnered 2 momentum. You have taken the initiative in the fight now. At the end of your turn, you will take damage, so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Can I use another resolve to take away a poison?
Yes, you can use 1 per round. So this is important. Are you getting rid of the poison or the bleeding condition?
I'm taking away the poison.
Okay, all right. So you remove the poison from your system. You just using your natural just resolve as an adventurer. You slug off the effects of the poison. You shake your head enough, and you just appear to have lost the detrimental side effects of being poisoned. But you are still actively bleeding from under your eye. So you can go ahead, and if you'd like to make your attack, go ahead, and there are no penalties. So you have 2 momentum.
Question.
Yes.
Is it the same eye the goblin stabbed me in? Or
It is the
other
same
eye?
eye. It's the same eye.
Okay. Okay.
So you've got a double scar under that eye now.
Double scar. All right.
It looks pretty gnarly.
Just checking. Oh, gee. All right. Yeah, I'm going to attack her.
Okay, go ahead and make me an attack.
That is 15 out of, that would be 78.
Whew. Okay, 15 out of 78. So that is... Can you add up the damage for me real quick?
That would be, I think, 6, 5, 11 plus 1, 12, plus 6. So 18 damage.
Okay, 18 damage. Marius Wolf, you come swinging with a lethal arc as you just see a brief opening where she, almost like her red shot eyes, just kind of blink for a second. You lash out with the pick very quick, and you catch her in her left arm. And as you feel the blade begin to pierce the skin in what probably should have been a fatal wound, you feel her body kind of turns with the momentum of the hit, and she doesn't take as much damage as you thought she should. She looks hurt. She looks hurt, but doesn't fall. It does spin her to the side a little bit, and she does scream out at the bite of the pick into her flesh, but she is still standing. She does look very hurt. They both do, but she's still up. Would you like to do anything else?
Probably look at her. You should take your friend and run, miss. I'm going to kill both of you.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention you did have a blinded condition, but it went away at the end of the round, so it was fine. It didn't do anything. That's one of the benefits of it happening right at the end. So
Yeah.
At the end of the round, Marius, you feel a fresh trickle of blood down your face. You lose a wound and all your momentum because you just took damage.
Yeah.
So you're back to square one, and you lost a wound.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me check that.
We are at the top of the round. Seamus McCready.
Yes.
She is, you can see her tensing once again. She looks very weary of you. It is your choice if you want to attempt to strike her again before she moves in for the attack.
I am. I'm gonna pull.
Go ahead
Captain
and
America
roll
on her.
a attack.
I'm gonna say, I can do this all day.
Let's do it.
Oh, I hope this is a crit. It's a 10.
That is not a crit for you. Sorry. How many success levels is that?
Still a good roll.
Out of 55. So 5 levels? 4 levels? 5
Okay.
levels?
I'm actually going to give it to you because you tied. And I always favor you guys when you tie. So
Rolling hot tonight.
all right, so a 10, okay. All right, so 5, 14, okay. So Seamus, you seeing an opportunity as she lunges in with one of the daggers. The scar rune across her forehead flashes briefly for a second, almost like this white hot heat. And in that moment, you flinch away, and she looks like has an opportunity to lash out at you. And at the last second, you dodge to the side as it passes by your face and sweep the katana up. And almost like cutting through butter, the blade passes through muscle and bone and removes the left arm from her body. It spirals off into the air. A gout of blood splashes across you and you hear her just scream out in pain and anguish. And at the exact same time, Seamus, you recover 5 wounds as you feel a tingling sensation move across your body. And if somebody was looking at you, they would see a superimposed wraith-like appearance cover Seamus's face and his arms and about his shoulders all the way down to his waist.
Does the elf behind him?
So we will get to that. Seamus, I need you to make me just a straight endurance test.
All right.
As there is a sudden rush of energy into your body.
That is barely. Can I use my momentum?
No,
way.
You cannot use your momentum.
Okay. That is a 61 out of 62.
Holy crap! That was barely a success. It's a surge of energy. I'm going to say you're attuned enough. You were going to take a corruption point, but you've had this sword for a few days at this point. So you managed to control yourself, but you do feel numb. And it is very unnerving, and some of your emotion drops away whenever this form takes over. For mechanical purposes, you now have the fear effect in I'm going to say for now, it's going to be a 10-foot radius. That might change as we're kind of playing this out right now. So 10 feet around you, all creatures will have to make a test or be afraid of you. And you also, while in this form, anytime you strike an opponent, you will siphon off a minimum of 5 wounds from them, regardless of how hard you hit them, as long as it hits skin or damages them, and you will recover 5 wounds in the process. You are an implement of death, and as this happens, the ghostly, almost ethereal presence overlaps you, and Marius, even though you can't see it, you feel just a cold behind you, and it chills you to the bone. I need you to make me a cool test.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. What's my cool? All right. That's going to be a 39 out of 60.
Okay, so you have an idea of what's happening behind you, and you manage to just kind of control yourself, despite the fact that you don't know if Seamus is himself at this moment. He might just decide to kill you. But you keep it together. You're in a life or death situation, and you keep your cool. Let's see about her.
She got my face.
Unfortunately, she is actually in almost a frenzy-like state and appears to be immune to fear effects due to the poison coursing through her own veins. So she is unaffected. Seamus, you watch as the elf that you apparently have killed, as the arm plops nearby, her face goes white and she stares up at you, and her eyes, which were full of just delight and malice, now are wide with terror as she moves to scream out, and the sword siphons off whatever was coming out of her mouth, almost like her soul is being removed, sucked into the blade, and then coursing into your own body. And she falls backwards, stone cold, dead. You are free to use your free action and your movement if you so choose.
All right. I'm going to kind of like Thanos it, like when that happens, when he puts the last stone in his gauntlet and he gets all tense and muscled up. I want to turn around to this other witch elf. They're witch elves, right?
Well, we'll call it, for our purposes, they're witch elves, yes. Seamus would have no idea what they are, but yes.
Right. I'm going to turn around to the other one. I'm going to point my sword at her, and get in range with her.
Okay, it just takes a few steps for you to cover the ground. Are you going shoulder to shoulder with Marius?
Yes.
Okay. Marius, you see Seamus step into view to the corner of your left eye, the one that is damaged, and you think you might be seeing something at first, because perhaps your eye was damaged in the blow, but there is a spectral, ethereal skull superimposed over his head, and almost like a billowing cape of some kind draped across his shoulders, and it goes down to about his waist. And his arms appear almost skeletal in nature and ethereal. It is very, very unnerving, but you have steeled yourself in this moment. And now it is your turn.
Real quick, I got two quick questions.
Yes.
Did I take a corruption point?
You did not take a corruption point because you made your save.
All right, and then I gained 5 wounds, so can I go over my 16, or do I just cap at 16?
You just cap out. You just cap out. You'll never go over.
All right. That is all.
Marius, it is now your turn. The woman looks, she's apparently almost oblivious. She is snarling almost like a enraged beast at this point. What would you like to do?
I'd like to attack her.
Okay, make me an attack.
That is going to be a 41 out of 88.
Oh, yeah.
For those success.
All right. How would you like to do this?
Ooh. I guess I would just like to tackle her, I guess, kind of like charge towards, like put my shoulder into, kind of lift her up, and then like just throw her down onto the ground, and then just take my pick and then just come it down right in their abdomen, and then lift it up.
Okay.
No one cuts my face.
Oh man, enraged, you shout out that threat almost. At least it should be a threat. She appears to be somewhat oblivious to anything coming out of your mouths. You lower your shoulder, and she is glancing at Seamus in this moment, seeing him as possible the bigger threat. And you have just the right opening to lower your shoulder, catch her in the chest. She rises off of her feet, stumbles backwards, and doesn't catch her footing in time. She hits the ground hard as you, in the same movement, raise the pick above your shoulders and two-handed slam it down center mass. It goes straight through the body in a sickening pop. Blood splatters across out the back, and you feel the pick smack into the hard ground underneath as it is penetrated fully through her, as she was not exactly a very muscular individual. And she is stuck firm. The eyes that were bloodshot and red begin to almost whiten as the blood begins to flow out of them, almost like bloody tears across her face. And she just kind of is still screaming and howling like an animal, but begins to whimper and then finally just goes still as you have her pinned in place. And she is dead.
That's what I'm talking about.
What would you guys like to do in this moment?
Is Seamus still spectral or wraith-like?
So, Seamus, you will stay in this state for your willpower bonus in rounds.
All right.
All right. So, if I believe that is 3 rounds. So, for another few seconds, probably 20 seconds or so, you're still going to be wraith-like. unless, well, you don't have a choice in the matter. So for the next couple seconds, Seamus is just standing there looking at you, and then it dissipates, and you can speak or do whatever you like.
I would like to talk to Seamus and just say, More's Grace. Seamus, that's the second time I've seen that aspect come out after you've slayed a beast. It's disheartening.
I just don't know what comes over me, but I feel so much power.
It's quite unnerving. It's tough to say. It's like death itself is reaching out at me and grasping my heart, chilling me to my core. It's quite terrifying.
But I don't know, but it feels quite good, Marius.
It must be that sword. That sword, Seamus.
No, it's not the sword, Marius.
What do you mean it's not the sword, Marius?
Go ahead and make me a charm check, Seamus. You trying to convince Marius it isn't the sword?
Ooh, I rolled a 2.
Marius, you are free to roll a cool test with plus 20. Well, actually, yeah, plus 20. As this is...
Okay.
You definitely have a hunch that this isn't the case.
Okay, I rolled a 30 out of 80.
Okay. How many success levels did you have, Seamus?
It was a 2 out of 34. So
okay, yeah. Marius, you definitely don't believe him. He's trying to convince you. He's still a little flat. The voice hasn't completely come in yet. It almost sounds kind of raspy.
Calculating.
And calculated, yes. It's almost like that. And then the color starting to finally come back into his face, and he's starting to look normal again. But for that brief moment when he was saying that, not so much.
Seamus, we need to take that thing and you, quite frankly, to someone who knows about these matters. Unfortunately, the only person I think that would be accepting of is his Mother Inga.
Well, if you want to go there, we can. Though. I remember we left that woman and child there too.
Yes.
Let's check back in on them. It feels like so long ago.
It was. It feels like a lifetime. This place seems to. Every moment in here is like a living hell. I mean, what were these things? I mean, I already hated these long ears before, but now these women just crazed, just charged across the battlefield at us after you failed one in one blow.
I don't know. They look similar to the that guy that was with us, that dark elf.
Yes, they are very tall and lithe, though you never saw one so scantily clad. But they're obviously of the same race, and judging from the weaponry, definitely they are dark elves of a kind. Though you've never seen one like this, or even heard of an elf, even in stories. That would be something similar to this.
It looks so similar to that friend we had with us.
Dinris? That prick?
Say, Marius, do you remember a while ago? I think you saw some type of shadow coming across the sea.
We did. It looked like a small island. But I think it was moving. It could possibly be a vessel of some sort, carrying these things with them.
Oh, this is a strange place. And as he says that, I want to cut off this elf's head.
Oh, okay then. The whole head?
And while he's doing that, I'm
Yeah.
going to be kind of trying to staunch the bleeding on my eye.
Okay, that's fair. I will make note that you've taken another wound, just so you know, since you didn't immediately staunch the bleeding.
Yeah.
How are you
All
doing
right.
so?
With bandages that I have. Got some from the.
Yes, you do have some bandages, so there's no test involved. You can just
Okay,
patch it
fine.
up as best you can. But you will take one wound in the meantime, since you had a full conversation before deciding
Sure.
to stop the bleeding coming out of your eye.
I mean, I feel like it's fair. He was
It's true. It's
death
true.
incarnate.
It's true.
So,
So, all right. You begin doing that. Seamus, with that sword, it's easy. It's almost unnaturally easy. Are you taking the head of the one that had the rune? The one that you attacked, or the one that with the longer blade that Marius was fighting?
The one with the rune.
Okay. All right. So you take a few steps back, grab her by the hair, and kind of lift the body up. She's relatively light, even though you're not exactly the strongest man. She appears to be very light, despite her size. And you just one clean sweep with this sword, almost like a knife through butter, similar to when you felled the arm from her body. It just comes off right at the neck. And a very grisly, bloody trophy is brought before you. And it appears to be locked in a scream. And an almost unnatural rigor mortis has already set in, despite it only being a few moments. And the skin has almost began to mummify, as if somehow the essence was drawn out of her body unnaturally. And the corpse looks very, very desiccated. So the the skin is somewhat shriveled against the skull. It's a very grisly trophy.
I would like to do it to the second elf that was close by.
Okay, that's disgusting. Let's continue this. Okay, what is the what are we going for here?
I want to go. I don't think I have like a sack to put them in.
I mean, you
I
have
just have a backpack.
You have a pack. It would be difficult if you stuff heads in there. It's going to definitely ruin some of the stuff in your pack.
Yeah,
if
I don't
you
want to ruin my stuff.
Yeah, if you want to like fashion something,
you could take the hair and tie it to your belt.
you could do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna witcher that and tie the hair like to my
Yep.
belt, or like just hold him by the hair.
Okay, that's super gross and creepy. All right. Alrighty then. I'm going to say you do that. You are going to get advantages on intimidation checks while you have these heads tied to your body. You will also get severely negative checks for persuasion and other things of that nature, as long as they're tied to you. So just keep that in mind.
All right.
Keep that in mind.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm adding 2 heads to my trappings.
Okay, you can add 2 elf heads, dark elf heads, to your trappings. Some of them have like earrings and piercings. It doesn't look like they have anything of value on them.
What about those daggers?
Do you want to pick up a dagger?
Ooh.
Yeah, he does. Pick it up. Pick it up, bro.
Jumbo Smooth knows he shouldn't, but Marius is interested, so Marius is going to grab one.
Okay.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
one? Are you grabbing just one of the regular sized ones or the longer one?
I don't know. Whichever one would be closer.
Probably one of
interested in both.
probably one of the smaller ones.
Okay.
So before you touch it, just go ahead and make me an intelligence test.
Okay. Let's see here. It's not super high. I rolled a 56 out of 36.
Well, I mean, what could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong with this. So, you see, Seamus has currently removed the second head nearby, and you glance down and go to grab one of the daggers, trying to see exactly what it was. You're kind of curious about the thing that injured you. And Seamus, you're only a few paces away from Marius. Marius, you grab a hold of the dagger. I need you to make me a cool test at minus 30.
Okay. Oh, that's a 6 out of 30.
Okay, 6 out of 30. So only 2 levels of success. 16. Yep. With 2 levels of success, Marius. First off, you take a poison condition for touching the blade.
Ah. Right.
Second off, as you are holding the blade, your vision turns red. And you needed 4 levels of success to stave off what is happening. I need you to make a melee attack against Seamus. And he doesn't know what's coming, so he can't defend himself.
You punk.
With the knife?
With the dagger. So it's a single-handed weapon.
Okay.
So just make me a melee attack with that.
Okay. Is it just my weapon skill?
Yeah, weapon skill.
That's
plus if you have simple weapons.
Okay.
What's it called?
Okay.
One-handed, essentially.
I don't. Yeah.
You don't? Okay.
I don't have one-handed.
So it's just your weapon skill.
That's
then.
roll. Okay. 97 out of.
Oh, you lucky! You sure you don't want to take a fortune or roll it? I mean,
No.
no. Okay.
No.
So
Yeah.
Seamus, you remove the head. You're attaching it to your belt, and you hear a shuffling. And you hear Marius kind of let out almost like a growl. And you turn around, and he very awkwardly lunges at you, holding the dagger from one of the fallen enemies. And you just kind of back away, and he just slashes through the air. What are you doing?
Marius to fuck.
And Marius Wolf, make me a cool test at minus 20 this time.
Okay. That's a 48 out of 40.
Okay. Marius?
I'll use a fortune reroll.
Okay, go ahead.
Reroll. Try it again. That's 19 out of 40. I guess it's still better.
Okay.
I'll take it.
That's better. That's better. How many levels of success is that?
2.
2? Okay. These are cumulative.
Mm-hmm.
So you just passed. So
Okay.
So it was 4 total.
Okay.
You managed to, as you're about to lash out a second time, possibly with deadly effects, you managed to control yourself despite the poison coursing through your veins and the fury that appears to be emanating from the blade. As you can see now, there are blasphemous runes carved into the blade itself, and a radiating heat is traveling into the pommel and into your flesh, and appears to be the source of the unnatural rage that you are feeling. You're free to do as you wish now.
I drop it on the ground.
You drop it on the ground. As you drop it, you feel immediately the sensation leaves your body, and you suffer 1 point of exhaustion.
Oh.
So you have a point of exhaustion now.
Right.
You do have a poison condition.
Can
Do
I
you
use my
have
last
any-
resolve to take that away?
Okay, I was about to say, if you have any resolve, you can. And it's at
Yeah.
this point, Marius, that you might not want to hear this, but since you were poisoned in this fight, as you remove the last one, you suffer another condition.
What's that?
You suffer a second fatigued condition.
Oh, so two endure or two.
You have two.
fatigues?
And Seamus,
Exhaustions.
you also were poisoned once. So at this point, you also start to feel effects. You suffer a single fatigued condition.
Ooh, all right.
All right.
I looked at Seamus and be like, Seamus, I'm sorry, my friend. My grasp of that dagger, it filled me with such rage. I couldn't think straight. I just wanted to murder everything in my path.
Yeah, maybe you should stick to your two-handed weapons there with your pick, because that was a pretty shite attack on me, mate.
Oh, sure. Very Sigma. I feel drained, Seamus. This fight, that poison, that dagger, it's made me weary. Let's go check on our comrades up the trail here.
All right. It's at this point that you guys hear screaming and yelling. But it's coming. It's coming from the direction that the elves moved from. It's in the distance, but you also hear a boom, boom, bang of explosions in the distance as well. And there's obviously a battle being fought nearby. And we will take our first break there.